The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals has denied a stay of execution for condemned killer Clarence Dixon. Good evening, everybody, and thanks for joining us. I'm Sean Mooney.
And I'm Amanda Gomez. Time is running out to try and stave off that execution with the clock ticking. News 4 Tucson's Eric Fink joins us now with what, if any, options are left now for Dixon. Eric.
12 hours away from Arizona's first scheduled execution in 8 years. The three-judge panel up in San Francisco this afternoon denied Clarence Dixon's request for a stay of execution. This despite Dixon's lawyers arguing he is mentally incompetent.
Mr. Dixon doesn't really understand the claim because he lives in his head. He lives in these alternate realities.
Clarence Dixon is scheduled to be executed by lethal injection at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning at Arizona State Prison Complex in Florence. A last-minute appeal this afternoon to the Ninth Circuit in San Francisco for a stay of execution was denied.
The inquiry is whether the prisoner can rationally understand the reason for the death sentence. He may think the death sentence is illegal for whatever reason, but that doesn't mean he doesn't understand why it's happening or why it was imposed.
Dixon was sentenced to death in 2008 for the 1978 murder of Dina Bowden, a 21-year-old ASU student in her Tempe apartment. Dixon was convicted of raping, stabbing, and strangling Dina. Attorneys for the state say Dixon is mentally fit.
The statement that if he did intentionally kill the victim, that maybe he would deserve the death penalty. All of those statements show that Dixon understands the connection between his crime and the punishment that's going to be carried out.
The state argues the 66-year-old who is legally blind also understands that only some states in this country have the death penalty.
The fact that he wished he was in another state that doesn't have the death penalty because he understands he wouldn't be executed for murder if he was in a state that didn't have the death penalty. He stated that he would bring the victim back if he was capable of it.
Dixon's lawyers argue he has a history of paranoid schizophrenia.
He spends hours and hours working on these writings with a stencil, that take days to create these judicial complaints. He obsesses over them, and then he retreats back into his own mind, where his schizophrenic thoughts run wild.
Dixon's legal team running out of hours and options to spare their client.
And Dixon's lawyers can still appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court. Stay with News 4 Tucson on air, online throughout the day tomorrow. Our coverage begins at 4:30 with Tucson Today. Live tonight here in studio, I'm Eric Fink, News 4 Tucson.